Welcome to Plague Politics, and I'm your host, the Plague Doctor. With the Senate failing to secure enough votes yesterday to find former President Trump guilty of incitement of insurrection, most eyes and ears for the past 10 days have been focused on Trump's second impeachment. I wanted to point out something happening kind of like that's connected but in the background, and it's potentially very significant. A week ago, about 120 former party officials, ambassadors, and so on from every Republican administration dating back to and including Ronald Reagan's presidency, they met on Zoom to discuss breaking away from the Republican Party. And they would run on a platform of principled conservatism, including adherence to the Constitution and the rule of law. Ideas that those involved basically say have been trashed by Trump. Names reportedly under consideration for the new party include the Integrity Party and the Center-Right Party. The direct implication is that Trump has nothing in common with integrity, and this group of Republicans want to have nothing in common with Trump. Also discussed was not only potentially running their own candidates in some races for the House and the Senate, but to also endorse other center-leaning and moderate candidates in other races. And it didn't matter, basically, whether they were, independent or whether they were liberal, as long as they were moderate and not extremist. And it's clear that this particular group is done with extremism. Evan McMullin, who was co-hosted the Zoom meeting, was a Republican candidate for president in 2016. And his words were, "Large portions of the Republican Party are radicalizing and threatening American democracy. The party needs to recommit to truth, reason, and founding ideals, or there clearly needs to be something new." The meeting was only one of several noteworthy indications this past week that the split between Trumpists and traditional conservatives is continuing to widen. After over half of the Republican members of Congress, they voted to challenge the Electoral College votes that legitimately secured the presidency for Joe Biden. A couple of days ago, Nikki Haley, who was Trump's ambassador to the United Nations, in what was, for many people, a very surprising and what must be to Trump and his followers an alarming move, she stated in an interview with Politico that we need to acknowledge he let us down. He went down a path he shouldn't have, and we shouldn't have followed him, and we shouldn't have listened to him, and we can't let that ever happen again. And I think, she basically is summarizing, that they created this monster that is now the Trump MAGA political machine. The shit that is Trump's ego and fake conspiracies, it's starting to float to the surface, and it stinks. Though McCarthy has said in, public he's supported Trump since Trump's election defeat, as have many other Republican congressmen, not all is well in Trump land and the Republican Party. When McCarthy, the MAGA rioters, they stormed the Capitol, and he called Trump, and he basically called, he begged Trump to call them off. Trump replied with the words, "Well, Kevin, I guess these people are more upset about the election than you are." And a furious McCarthy yelled back at Trump, supposedly on the phone, "Who the fuck do you think you were talking to?" I mean, I think it makes it very, very clear that, they might not have voted to, convict him on the impeachment thing, but they're very, very clearly against him. So are we starting to see a wheel or two start to wobble on the Trump bandwagon? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching.